got me excited because I just have to kind of make a decision here. The question that you asked would, if I showed it to all of you, there's a number of things that were exercises that we did, activities that we did with a big-time women's football team. And it was all built on building a culture. Okay, nothing to do with that X's and O's. I don't know anything about football. I come in just to help them build a culture. Okay, would you be interested in something like that? It's not in the slides that I was going to show, but we can make a quick turn and we can do that. Raise your hands if you'd like to see those. You're not sure. Yeah, you're not sure what it is.
Well, I'm not sure what you were going now.
Yeah, I know. You see. Yeah. Okay. We're going to start on this path, but then we may just kind of veer off. And
hey, phones are doing that one.
Okay. I'm wasting time. Let's get going. Okay. Behaviors. Okay. Behaviors. We just had that time that we talked about, you know, the list of things that determine results and behaviors produces them. Okay, in your mind right now, I want you to think about the best team you've ever seen, or the best athlete. Okay, now that you can see that team, think about the qualities. Behaviors. What made that team great? Or that athlete. What qualities? Okay, in your minds, you have a mental picture. I know you do. Okay. I've had that picture for many years because those pictures of those great teams, I wanted my team to always be able to get those behaviors, those qualities. The challenge that we have, though, you can go in any bookstore and they talk about, okay, you can pick up, okay, here's all the qualities of greatness. You know, every book has like 25 different qualities. I want to keep things as simple as possible. At West Point, my leader team and I said, okay, fine, we're very successful, but I want to take it deeper. I want to look at this. And so we studied what people considered the greatest teams and the greatest leaders in 3 areas: in sport, in business, and in the military, to determine what common qualities or behaviors do the best of the best have. Okay? 2-year study. This is the results. We got it down. It took us a long time. We got it down to 5 things. Okay? The best of the best. Number 1, trustworthy. Number 2, they know what they want and they pursue it with purpose, passion, and dedication. Number 3, they believe in themselves. They believe in themselves and their teammates. Number 4, they're mentally tough and focused. And number 5, they make everyone around them better. Think about it. If you got a team right now or an athlete, trust, knowing what they want and pursuing it with purpose, passion, and dedication. Believing in themselves and their teammates. Believing in you as a coach. Mental toughness and their focus. And guess what? They make everyone around them better, even in an individual sport, just through their training. The energy they bring to your training sessions, they make everyone better. Those were the five things that we found, the best of the best. But then we needed to get back to that concept of behaviors. yeah, those phrases are nice, but then we broke it down into behaviors. If someone's trustworthy, there's 6 behaviors that we felt would demonstrate that. It made it so much easier to make sure players understood what right looks like. Anyways, we took each of the areas there. You can see again, behaviors produce results. So now we had to provide experiences that would help them understand the value of this in order to get to our overarching vision. Then we also had it, of course, for the other 2. I'm showing this to you just to see the importance again when it goes to trying to define behaviors and visible actions the best that you can. With behaviors, determine which ones are above the line. You have to let your players know what is acceptable behavior. And it's not just acceptable. We want behaviors that are above the line, that are preparing people for greatness. And then there's below the line behaviors. What we did in Minnesota, we created this chart right here. 3 zones. We tried to get the girls to understand, okay, your behavior is going to put you in one of 3 zones. So we were constant. They know what right looks like. And it goes back to this. They know this. The decision to either work above the line or below the line is probably the most important decision that your athlete is going to make that day. They make a conscious decision. But then we, as coaches and as leaders, our key is accountability. If we truly believe this is leading us to greatness, what do we have to do? We have to hold them accountable to that standard. And there's ways that you can do it. And one of the best ways is positive peer pressure with your internal leaders. You have enough people by creating a culture that demands greatness and nothing else is accepted. Boy, does it make coaching, it's always fun, but it really makes it fun when you can have internal leaders that are demonstrating and even holding their peers accountable to above the line behaviors. Okay, straight from Minnesota. And I am absolutely sold on these 4 questions. Before I work with an athlete, I must, number 1, have a relationship where I know that they're giving me truthful answers and that I've watched them so I can see their behaviors that verify their words. I'm very trusting, but I also verify. And you verify by what? The behaviors and the actions that you see with your own eyes when they're on a field, and they could say they're doing this, this, and this. But are they truly doing it? Okay, 4 questions. Number 1, I want to know why they're playing. Even in Minnesota, they're on a scholarship, but I want to know individually. These are things I want to find out individually. But then, once we get all of that, we do it as a team. And the team session is the one that's going to really be powerful. But let's look at it individually first. Why are you playing? Number 2, what do you want to achieve? What do you truly want to achieve? Number 3 gets a little bit more difficult, because now, what are you willing to invest? What are you truly willing to invest in order to reach that goal? The 4th question is, what have you done today to improve? I think 4 very, very important questions that you really need to know. Once I sit down with each of the girls and we have a one-on-one conversation on all this, then we bring them in the changing room. And it's one of those meetings. It's just like, okay, fine, why are we all in here? Why are we putting this uniform on? It says Minnesota on it. we let them have small groups, they talk about it. Then it becomes a big group discussion. And we have upper class leaders leading it sometimes. But we're not going into a season until we understand why that everyone is in here and what they're committed to, what they're going to achieve. Sometimes it'll take 3 different sessions to get this done. Why? Because then this is where the girls. I started off, and then I go to the back. Initially, the first couple of years, I had to lead it. Now, the internal leaders, and because they believe in their program so much, I kick it off, and then a lot of times, I'm pretty much just in the back, just in case, if I need to facilitate something. Because they believe, they have core values and their belief, and they want those behaviors, and they want the new players that are in there to behave that way. And they want to know that, hey, here's the line. We all, you can't straddle the line. You're either in or out. We say it all the time. You're either in or you're out. And being in means green zone behaviors. Wow. It's pretty cool when you think about it. It's cool if you want to be, to me, that's why there's so few great teams. If you really want your team to be great, or if you really want to be great as an athlete, it puts you in a different category than normal. You're going to be different than your peers because what you value is something that the average person maybe doesn't even care about, whether it's sport, whether it's a Big Ten championship, whether it's a national championship. I don't know. Those 4 questions. Comments?
I've got, can we go back to that slide? I've got both of those 2 slides. One.
You want me to go back?
Yeah. Oh, no, sorry.
Yeah, I get it.
So I've just put that one, very similar to that one, in my first training session, very much it's above the line, below the line, describing what those activities look like, that's cool. And previously seen that from another coach, the next slide, and that's awesome to see that stuff's
cool
through. For me, really understanding how you translate that to those players and how you get them to buy into.
How to translate this?
Yeah, sure. What sort of activities you can undertake to cement that
with their
on an ongoing basis, I guess.
As far as their behaviors on the field?
Yeah, and during trainings, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Okay. During training sessions, what we end up, and the head coach just said, I'm a spectator completely.
Yeah, sure.
When I watch, but they make it very clear what. Where are the green zone behaviors?
Yeah.
On the way.
Am I going the wrong way?
Mark, will you get a copy of this?
Yeah.
And put it up for us, please?
Sorry.
You ever look at paper?
Excellent,
There it is. Okay. All these basically are defined so that players know what it looks like on the field. Those are just generic terms.
Yeah.
And so what it is okay, fine. They break it down. I mean, they break it down into what they basically say. This is what right looks like. We call it the Minnesota way. The Minnesota way is this, and so you just basically do it drill by drill. We don't have 100 different drills. We keep our drills very simple. There's a lot of repetition, but they know on each one of those drills what their responsibility is. Okay. Going back to your team, let's look at, I asked you about your core values. What I want you to do right now is, with this template, and just use the 2 column, just put 2 columns. Okay. If your team doesn't have core values, okay, put what you would say even though maybe you haven't gotten through them with your team, what are your core values? What do you think the core values for your team? Is trust one of them? Is integrity one of them? Whatever it may be, is resilience? Write down a list of what you think are very important core values. Okay. I'm gonna move a little bit faster with this. If you have 3 or 4 written down, great. If you only have 1 or 2, that's okay too. Take time to put and establish core values. The core values are the things that help get those behaviors, those values that all of a sudden your athletes understand why they're important for their team, to accomplish what the ultimate dream is. It helps set the standard for behavior and performance. But then what you have to end up doing is take your core values, if the word is trust, just like you saw on a slide that my leader team and I did when the principles of greatness, and we said trustworthy, and there were 6 behaviors. That's what I'm talking about. You have to take your core values and turn them into behaviors. We have a government-funded pilot study where we're doing a framework similar to what we're doing in Minnesota, and similar to what I did at West Point in New Zealand right now. And this is the 2nd year in the program, and we have what, 9 schools in it now?
9, yeah.
And this is one of the schools right here. They came up with their values, okay? Their team values. And then they did the next step. They ended up defining their values. So that's what, we've been trying to help them to turn this into something that is more than just one word. Because if we took this word determination, I might have 8 different definitions. Everyone would interpret it maybe a little different way. You got to make sure there's a common language. Common language. Great teams have a common language. We're trying to get them to have a common language as far as what grit looks like. Then the next step, here's a, whoops. Oh, okay. I'm going to let you talk the next one real quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Guys, just before I talked about just Ralph's got a constraint of 2 hours a second, so he's trying to push through. And mate, you're asking some really great questions about how do you make this come alive. I first heard Ralph 4 years ago. I probably heard 70% of his chats over the 10 trips that he's been here, and I'm still unpacking it. So it takes time. But just quickly on this one, so Rutherford College, one of our schools, West Auckland. The students wanted to sort of redefine what sport looked like at school. They were a little bit sick and tired of being deemed the underdog, going to Rutherford type mentality. So we started off with the school values, which are the ones inside the Pentagon there, because it was really important to stay true to those as well. But they came up with the 5 values around the outside, and just to give a quick indication of that, that started with about 18 students in the school sports council, sitting down as individuals. What was important to them? What did they think sport at Rutherford should look like? Then coming together in small groups, and then debating as one big group. We ended up, after the first hour of doing it, with about 50 or 60 words across the board. And this is a process that's taken about 8 weeks of me going in and helping facilitate this. Then what was really neat was the discussion around, well, what does commitment look like, and say attitude. And you get students debating, do we want attitude? What does that look like? Is that hard work or is that commitment? a really fierce debate around what that looked like. And slowly but surely we merged words, we took them apart. Those are the 5 they landed on. And then they went away and they defined what those words look like. So it takes time if you really truly want to get buy-in from your athletes to do it with them, so they feel that there's the ownership. But I guess that's the thing. So just reflecting on tonight, I'll get this presentation to Mark so he can flick it out to you. But go away and reflect and just think, what will this look like, and how will I take bits and pieces of this and integrate it into my world? Because your world will be very different to West Point as it is to Rutherford, as it is to Woodland, but some of the systems and the structure that Ralph's given you, it's just finding what's going to work and how you're going to implement it.
And a lot of it, be thinking of what the identity, your team identity, what do you want it to be? I know each one of you, I mean, because you have a core philosophy. I mean, you know your team, you want your team to look like this, to play like this. These are the behaviors that I want if someone comes to watch my team play. Well, okay, fine. Then determine those. If you can put them into values that become behaviors, then suddenly, with the discussions, that players, they start thinking about all this, not just as an athlete, they start learning how to believe in something. And that's that belief that slowly transforms into really powerful actions. It's those athletes that refuse to lose. You've seen those that refuse. Why? See, I see athletes like that I want to talk to them. I want to talk to their coaches. I want to know. Tell me, what is inside that athlete? And it's a way that somehow they harnessed all this power of this belief that no one would work harder, or no one's going to finish stronger than that person. And if a person starts believing that, so you know, guess what? They refuse to lose. Refuse to lose, I'm talking about nothing's going to break their winning spirit. They're always going to give their best. It's that resiliency, whatever you want to call it. See, you're all torchbearers. I mean, you can lead the way to help young people learn how to be resilient, because you can teach them how to do it in sport. They have to do it themselves, but you can lead them there. And guess what? Your team's going to really be fun to watch, because no one's going to out-scratch them. I mean, they're going to fight and fight and fight. My teams, I knew one thing, and I'd say this all the time. If someone came in and they couldn't see the score, and they walked into our arena, and all they could see was the teams playing, my team was going to play as if it was a one-point game. You could look up and you'd say, wow, you're down by 20. One of the biggest compliments I ever had, I was in the tournament, we got beat by the team that ended up winning the national championship. And they thumped us. And their head coach came over afterwards. He said, your team, he talked to the whole team. He says, you never quit. We beat you by 30 points. They did. They beat us by 30 points. I'll never forget that. That was one of my moments, because you know what? I knew I did a good job. Nothing was going to break the heart of those guys. Nothing. They weren't intimidated, and as the lead got up more and more, we never stopped fighting. What more can you ask? You know, I love those guys for that. Did we win a championship? No. The average person would say, oh, you got blown out. We didn't get blown out. So, I mean, to me, that's what we're trying to do with young people, is get them to get that feeling deep inside. It really comes down, and I love this slide. I use it all the time in America, just because it comes from New Zealand, and I truly believe it's the people, it's the people, it's the people. So if you go back to that slide about culture, you wanted to talk about culture. Remember, there's people, and there's the structure, and the process. Well, it's the people that make the structure and the process work. Keep it simple. I know I've given you a lot. As you unpack some of this, and I'll make sure you have my contact information. And actually, on a lot of this, almost every day on Twitter, I'll put something about either culture, peak performance, something that is geared to help all of us keep striving for excellence. It's that striving for excellence. And that journey never ends. See, that's the beauty of it. The journey never ends. I wake up in the morning, I mean, even this morning, you know, I was excited because I had a presentation last night. It was kind of late last night. So I checked into the hotel. I woke up this morning. I knew I had to, all of you. It was a game day. It was another opportunity to meet people, to learn, and to really take sport and understand that sport serves a higher purpose. It serves a higher purpose than just the numbers on a scoreboard. The higher purpose is what all of you were saying, why you coach. That's why I asked the question, why do you coach? You will get the slides, go through them the best that you can. I'm going to close it with one word. And the one word is not going to be just one word I'm going to give you. It's an activity I want you to think about with your athletes. Can you switch it?
Yeah.
It's an exercise that we do at the University of Minnesota, and yeah, thanks. You can read it, but those are the instructions for the players. And let's make sure that these slides will get put in your packet too. And you can see we're asking players to select one word that can be their guide. And this was during the off season. We also do this exercise during the season. But read the second paragraph. I mean, that's the key. And you got to have players that are really going to be bought in. And we didn't do this the very first year. It took us a couple of years till we got the team where we knew that they were going to be serious about this. Okay, they select one word. Now, Simone is a senior right now. A year ago, she selected the word risk. Okay, risk. These are her words right here. She had been in our program 2 years. Look at where she is right now. She is looking inside of her, and she's being very honest. She has incredible signature strengths. But at the same time, if you were a coach and she ended up, this is an essay or a paper, she wrote this. These are her words. Okay, she's crying out for her. Look at this. Lack of confidence. She's talented. She's really talented. She's in a very select group that will get drafted. But now, suddenly I'm seeing, I've already faced some self-doubt. All this stuff. She's going to Seattle, and she's playing against the best girls in the summer. You know, she's on a club team, the Seattle Sounders. Real tough team to even get on. And now she's nervous. Okay, so what would you do? Here's more. I mean, I have a huge fear, last paragraph or next to last. I have a huge fear of failure. I can be pretty hard on myself for the mistakes that I make. She's opening up so that now we as a staff, me as a sport advisor, wow, we can really connect. I knew she had a problem with her confidence, but now she had gotten to the point where this one-word exercise really made it come clearer. So now together, wow, we're on a mission. We're really on a mission to work with her. This is a poster. Every player made a poster. They put it right by their bedroom or by their bed. She'd wake up every day. She's flying from Minneapolis, Minnesota to Seattle. And she's saying, stop worrying about what you have to lose and start focusing on what you have to gain. That was her poster for the summer. So not only did they write the exercise, they made a poster. The rest of the story is this. Last year, she ends up third team All-American. Did she play with confidence last year? You bet she did. But if she had not written that, if we didn't have that exercise, if we hadn't established a culture of being very honest and very trusting, she trusted us. She knew that we would help her. She would have to do it. We had mistake rituals. We worked with her in a lot of different ways to try to bounce back. We did the same thing. This is a team last year. Each one of the girls had their one word. We knew that word. We knew exactly. We studied that sheet. We met with them individually. We worked with them. Then we had the team sit down, and now we're going to have one word for the team for the season. And again, this took a couple sessions. I started it, I led it, and then I backed away. I let the captain, I went to the back. In fact, I left the room. I said, you don't need me anymore. It was going so good. I said, hey, let me know what word it is. I said, it's your team. Get it done. I know you will. And this is the word they selected, unbreakable. They made bands. They have, wear on the wrists and everything. Every huddle, unbreakable. They reinforced that whole concept of nothing was going to break our spirit. It's little things like that that can build a culture. Does it take time? Yes, but is it worth it? Of course it is. We're working with people. We're trying to help them achieve. It's the same way some coach or your parents helped you get to where you are right now. Keep up the great work. This is great. So, hey, thank you very much. And can you put my contact information? Is that on that again?
It's on your first slide, isn't it?
Yep. It should be.
Hey, it's always great to have Ralph here. We don't see him often enough, to be honest, from my perspective. We'd love to have him here more often and for longer each time he does come. But we appreciate every time he does come, so thanks a lot, Ralph. I guess from today or tonight, you need to figure out what you got from tonight in your own context and try and put some of this stuff into action. For the people on this year's PCA, use your reflective journal, try stuff out, reflect on it, see if it worked, if it didn't, change things if you need to, etc., etc. It's all about you going away, taking the information that's been thrown at you and putting it into your own context to learn. Okay, so once again, thanks a lot, Ralph. I think some of the messages have been consistent with our workshops through the year so far. Your above the line and below the line sort of resonates with Wayne's easy way, hard way stuff. et cetera, so it's great that we can get that, the flow of the same message in different ways, so thanks a lot for that. And thanks, Simon, for being Ralph's transport and your input as well. Awesome. Safe travels, everyone, and we'll see our guys next month, which is only not long.
Yeah, I know we'll see each other again, I'm sure, so, yeah, let's stay in touch now. Yeah, okay. Yeah, thanks, great questions on it, and then if there's, contact me, if there are questions,
Simon, you can sing.
Yeah, I'll send them.
Directly,
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm sorry we didn't get to the point of talking about the challenge, but I'd love to.
No, that's exactly it. It's, you know, it's go away and try and.
But you're celebrating.